Hey folks, welcome to Market Technical Analysis by InTheMoneyStocks.com for November 29th, 2007. Well, we're approaching the end of November here, and what a volatile month it's been. Just all over the board. Huge down days, and then lately we've had a couple of big up days, and finally we're getting that bounce out of the market we had been talking about, and I've mentioned in the past videos over the last couple of days. Now, what's so interesting about this today is that this is exactly what we talked about yesterday in the video happening. We talked about how you have these giant moves up in the market, such as the one over the last couple days, especially yesterday, where the Nasdaq closed up 82 points, and then you have what's called a pause in the market, a pause day, a consolidation day, and that's exactly what we saw today. The market was down 5 points on the Nasdaq, it was up 5 points on the Nasdaq, down 5 points, up 5 points, back and forth. Compared to the normal volatility we've been used to this month, that's nothing. That's like me moving 1 foot to the right, 1 foot to the left when I used to run marathons, back and forth. So essentially, that's what I'm saying here, folks. We had that consolidation pattern or a day that we've been talking about now, and it looks like it's taken place. So now the question becomes, well, what are we thinking about for tomorrow? A couple things happened or are happening today. Number one, Dell earnings were reported. Dell's getting hammered after the bell, and I'm going to bring that chart up here. And while we bring up that chart, you can see what it's done over the past couple days. And you can see Dell has had a humongous rally over the last 3 days. Okay, you can see it was trading all the way down around 25.50, closing today right before earnings at $28 and change. Now, after hours, it reported earnings. It doesn't seem that good, and here you can see it actually trading down about $2, give or take a penny here. Closing at 28.14 right here, up 45 cents on the day. After hours prints are going off at 26.16, and you can see 26.16 by 17 right here on the bid and the ask, 25.15 now. So again, that's number one. Now the question still remains, how much does Dell really impact the Nasdaq anymore? Yes, it's a big tech bellwether. It's been a big tech player like Intel for a while, but it doesn't have the same power as a Google or a Research in Motion or an Apple does, and that's fair enough to say. So that might affect tech tomorrow a little bit. You might see a little drag on tech. But the big question tonight is Bernanke. Now, what's so amazing about or so interesting about this situation, I'm going to go to the ES chart so you guys can kind of monitor the ES on the daily, and I'll put up the NASDAQ actually here on the daily here so you can actually see where we ended. And a very interesting close to the market, which I'll get into today. But what's so interesting about Bernanke tonight, he's going to be talking, is that the market over the last couple of days, especially on that massive rally yesterday, which occurred because the Fed vice chairman, I believe it was, came out and said something to the effect that the Fed was or willing to cut the interest rates more. And the market was already at a 70% chance of a quarter basis point cut. Well, guess what? Now the market's almost expecting a 50 basis point cut. So that's partially, or one of the main reasons you got the rally yesterday. And now the question is, Bernanke's talking tonight. Is that really what the Fed meant? Because honestly, that's surprising to me. All of a sudden, 50 basis point cut. You're only going to put more pressure on the dollar here. You're only going to put more pressure on oil going up and gold going up. And yes, we were up a little in oil. We did bounce a little in oil today, but not much. But when you lower the interest rates by 50 basis points, you're going to cause even more problems down the road, in my opinion. So was that really what the Fed meant to say yesterday when the vice chairman said those comments? And Bernanke speaking tonight will give light to us in that regard. Okay, so that's number one. Now let's get into some chart technicals, and we'll know tomorrow, basically tonight whenever he talks. I'm not sure what time he's talking, but we'll know right away when the futures react to this overnight, and by tomorrow morning we'll know exactly what happened and what's going to go on. So we had the pause day today, all said and done, and you can constantly see, basically, the question here for me is this. You had the M pattern on the NASDAQ, and we've gone over this almost every day. The question I have is this the A here, and this is the formation of the A, and you can see the A pattern here, and now we're moving up here and for a little bounce in the coming days, or, and let me just erase these lines, or is this a completed M pattern here, and now this is the A? Okay, so there's two ways of looking at this right here. You had a small A possible there, but now could we be seeing the A here in a larger A pattern before the next leg down? And I do think that at some point we are going to have to retest those lows, but again, as I've said over the past few days, I've been expecting the bounce. We took huge advantage of it in the chat room over the last couple days, banking lots of money. A very, very good day yesterday and a good day today as well. on some good plays as well. Partially some swing trades we held overnight in the accounts, and some trades we did during the day. But regardless of that, the question still remains: is this the MA pattern here forming, or did we have the A small a formation and then the M pattern is completed here? And that's what we're going to find out soon enough. Now, on the overall charts here on the NASDAQ, what you're going to have to watch is that we're basically right up against this 20 moving average now. That's the 20 moving average, and you are hitting that resistance point on the 20 right now on the upside. So the question will be, do we pull back now underneath that 20 in the coming days, or do we continue to rally? I personally think we do have a day or two more up, but maybe not tomorrow. Tomorrow we might see a pullback because you got to have a little consolidation period before another bounce in this market. And I'm not saying a big pullback by any stretch, but you could have like a down day on the NASDAQ 20 points or so, or possibly an up day. Tomorrow it's going to be really up in the air. The last couple days I was dead on. This time I'm saying, I'll be honest with you guys, it's a little harder to predict, or at least give the odds of whether or not we're going to bounce up or down tomorrow. A lot will depend on what Bernanke says today. Should we move up again tomorrow and close above the 20 moving average, then I got to believe we test this 50 moving average here on the NASDAQ. And just to show you the Q chart, which is what we've really been paying attention to, the Qs have already done that, and now they're close to the 50 moving average, close to testing that. So you saw the bottom put in on the Qs. Nice consolidation, sideways trading here on the Qs ever since going back to this November 12th date where we made the low. And now the Qs have bounced all the way up here and look to be testing the 50 moving average in the next couple days. Now let's look at the SPY here. Give us a sense of the S&P here, and you can see it's the same chart pattern except a little bit uglier. You can still see a rough M here, all right, possible A here, and then a move down, or maybe this is just a full M pattern, and now we're getting the A bounce up. But here, right here, is the 200 moving average, and the 50 is above it here. So you have two possibilities right here, and we'll have to find out which one's which in the coming days. Now, again, we'll watch Dell very closely tomorrow. Dell bouncing just up a little few more pennies here, trading at 26.23 by 24, down a little less than $2 right now after hours. But again, it's all going to fall on Bernanke. We're going to see where gold goes and oil goes in the coming days. But again, here's the USO basically closing flat on the day. Oil was basically flat to slightly positive. Overall, up 43 cents to 91.05. I'm seeing right now. Again, you have this kind of trickery going on. Everyone assumes it's just going to break 100, then they fake you out and bring it down. They assume again as it pushes back up to 99 overnight about a week ago or a little less than a week ago, and then it fails and pulls back down. What I believe is going on here is they're shaking out the weak hands, which you can't blame them for. You know, big money always does that. Big money wins. That's how they win. They shake out the big hands, then it goes. So the question is this a shakeout before it pushes over 100, or is this an actual pullback? And that'll be debated till the ends of the earth, till we find out in the next few weeks whether or not it is more than just a pullback before a move higher, or this is just the shorts getting taken out of the market, or winning here shortly, or getting on board before they squeeze the shorts right through 100. Okay. Odds and ends other than that, not much going on. Let's go over a look at the intraday chart. And just again, there's not much to talk about here. You have this flat market for the most part. You had one little dip up out of this channel here that we see here. You had this one little here. You could almost look at like a little head and shoulders pattern right here. Here's a shoulder, and here's a possible shoulder over here. But again, with the market here getting very light volume, you can't really consider that a head and shoulders pattern, though it does look like one here. Let's go back to the NASDAQ chart. I just want to show you a couple odds and ends here on the NASDAQ. And again, the NASDAQ closed up 5 points. The Dow closed up 22 points, and the S&P closed up 0.7. So really, it was a flat day. We saw some interesting moves in some various stocks here, and I just want to touch base on a couple of those. We saw some of the smaller stocks actually starting to get bounces today, and usually it filters through, meaning that over the last week, you've seen Baidu, Google, and let me bring up Google's chart. Good example here. Look at the bounce on Google over the last week or so. Now you're finally seeing that bounce. It always trickles through, all right? Initially, you have the big stocks bounce, then the mid caps, then the small caps. We're finally seeing it come to the smaller caps today, and we should see this continue and see maybe a little in this bounce. Some of the smaller caps finally get a bounce. After all, the Russell has been crushed most of all here, all right? And I just want to show you here. TWM is an inverse 2 times short the Russell, and you can see the type of move. If you were short the Russell here, the type of move up you've gotten here. IWM This is the Russell chart, and so you've seen a Russell really come down here on the ETF for the Russell here. Finally, we got a little bounce. Again, the Russell's hitting its 20 moving average here, just like the other indexes. So again, very, very interesting to note, and we will see what happens in the coming days. All right, folks, other than that, very light market today. Watch Bernanke's comments tonight, all right? Dell tomorrow in the tech sector may be a little in play, but for the most part, it's got to be on Bernanke at this point. And again, the market is beginning to assume a 50 basis point cut in this market, which is quite astounding to me. Have a wonderful evening, guys. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.